Imagine a sunny suburb where burgers sizzle, kids laugh, and life feels just right, until a buzzing, camera-toting drone invades your backyard, spying on your every move. Meet Marlene Voss, the HOA queen who thinks privacy is a suggestion and rules are her kingdom. Her high-tech Sky Snooper films kids reading, neighbors gardening, even folks brushing their teeth. It's not just annoying, it's a full-on privacy heist. But when Marlene picks a fight with Jack Harper, a former tech wizard with a knack for outsmarting gadgets, she's in for a splashy lesson. Will Jack's clever tricks send Marlene's drone to a watery grave? Can a neighborhood reclaim its freedom from a control freak's reign? Stick around for the Sky Snooper, a tale of tech, rebellion, and poetic justice that'll make you cheer and maybe check your own backyard for nosy drones. What's the ending? Will Marlene crash and burn? Like, subscribe, and share to join the ride and catch more epic stories tomorrow. Jack Harper flipped veggie burgers on his Willow Creek grill, the sizzle drowning out the spring breeze. "I'm a grill ninja, Lydia," he hollered, tossing a wink at his wife. Lydia, juggling lemonade pitchers, snorted, "Keep dreaming, ninja." Their daughter, Sophie, sprawled on a deck chair, scrawled on her tablet, lost in a world of memes. The backyard screamed suburban bliss, tulips nodding, picnic table wobbling, a Saturday begging for fun. Then a loud buzz sliced the air, like a wasp with a grudge. Jack froze, spatula mid-flip. A shiny black drone hovered 20 feet up, its camera glinting like a nosy neighbor's eye. "Smile for the Sky Snooper," Jack called, waving the spatula like a flag. The drone tilted, zooming in on Sophie, who tapped away, clueless. Jack's grin vanished. "That's no kid's toy." Lydia frowned, squinting. "Whose is it?" Jack tracked the drone as it buzzed over their fence, zipping toward the biggest house on the block. Marlene Voss's mansion. Willow Creek's unofficial control tower. Marlene, the HOA queen, ruled with an iron clipboard. "Sassy mailbox? Find. Rebellious tulips? Cited." Sophie looked up, smirking. "She's like a grumpy librarian with a crown," Jack nodded. "And a flying tattletale." That evening, Jack marched to Marlene's door, the drone's buzz still ringing in his ears. She answered, clutching a wine glass big enough to house a goldfish, her smile faker than a plastic lawn flamingo. "Jack, what's the crisis?" she purred. "Your drone was filming my family," Jack said, arms crossed. It zoomed in on Sophie. Marlene sipped her wine, smirking. "Just a safety scan, Jack. Guilty folks squawk loudest." "Safety doesn't spy on my kid," Jack shot back. She shrugged. "If you're not breaking rules, why care? It's legal airspace." The door clicked shut. Jack stomped home, steam practically shooting from his ears. Lydia met him at the door. "Well?" "She's playing Sky Cop," Jack growled. Sophie, now on the couch, looked uneasy. "That thing was by my window earlier. It's super creepy." The next morning, an envelope slid under their door, an HOA citation for non-compliant picnic table varnish. Jack laughed, incredulous. "Varnish? She's scraping the barrel." But as he sipped coffee, the drone returned, buzzing low over Sophie's window. Sophie whispered, "Dad, it's back. It's freaking me out." Jack's eyes narrowed. He'd spent years as a tech engineer, building counter-surveillance gear for government contracts. That drone wasn't a hobby. It was high-end, with real-time video and a snooping agenda. "Marlene's playing spy," Jack muttered, "but I wrote the playbook." He headed to the garage, where a dusty box labeled Old Projects sat. Inside, gadgets hummed to life, signal scanners, frequency jammers, tech that could make a drone dance or dive. Lydia followed, raising an eyebrow. "You're not hacking her, are you?" Jack grinned, mischievous, "Just nudging." The neighborhood was starting to feel the heat. Pete Larson, the guy next door, cornered Jack while he mowed the lawn. "That drone filmed me watering plants in my boxers," Pete hissed. "Got a fine for sloppy attire. This is nuts." Clara Hayes, 2 houses down, got slapped with a citation for unruly petunias. The whole cul-de-sac felt like a fishbowl, with Marlene as the shark. Jack tested a scanner that evening, pointing it skyward. The drone, buzzing nearby, twitched like it'd been zapped. "Gotcha!" Jack whispered. The next morning, Jack was ready. He flicked a switch on his scanner as the drone swooped over. It dipped, wobbled like a drunk gadget, and hightailed it back to Marlene's. Sophie, watching from the deck, cheered, "Take that, Sky Snooper!" Jack smiled, but an email from Marlene pinged his phone. "Warning, hackers are targeting our safety systems. Report suspicious tech." Sophie burst out laughing. "Hacker, she's ready for UFOs!" Jack chuckled, but his wheels were turning. He spent the afternoon building a birdhouse, a wooden box with a goofy owl figurine, secretly a signal jammer that could scramble a drone's signal in a 50-foot cone. It was legal, barely, as long as it dodged emergency bans. "Let's ruffle her feathers," Jack said, setting it on the patio railing. Marlene's paranoia was in overdrive. Her next email ranted about alien tech invaders and digital bandits. Pete stopped by, holding a citation for improper hedge alignment. "She's losing it," he said, shaking his head. "That drone caught me grilling yesterday. Got a fine for excessive smoke." "Smoke?" Clara whispered to Jack at the mailbox. "It flew over my picnic. I'm scared to hang laundry." Kids stopped playing outside, afraid of Marlene's flying spy. Jack kept tabs on the drone's schedule, 9 a.m. sharp, then 3 p.m., circling the cul-de-sac like a vulture. It lingered longest over Jack's house, as if Marlene had a personal grudge. "She's not just enforcing rules," Jack told Lydia. "She's building a spy empire." Lydia nodded, worried. "Just be careful, Jack. She's nuts, and nuts gets dangerous." The next day, the drone was back, bolder than ever, buzzing low enough to rattle the patio chairs. Jack sipped coffee, calm as a cat, and flicked the birdhouse switch. The drone spun like a top, nearly smacking a tree. Sophie gasped, "Dad, you broke it!" But then, a tinny voice blared from a speaker on the drone. "Comply with HOA regulations." It was Marlene, her voice amplified like a sci-fi villain. Sophie's jaw dropped. "She's talking through it? That's insane!" Jack's laugh was half amused, half steely. "She's crossed the line." He grabbed his laptop, fingers flying. "Time to ground this pest for good." The drone hovered closer, its camera glinting, as if daring him to try. Jack Harper sipped coffee under his patio umbrella, eyes locked on the sky. The drone was back, buzzing like a nosy neighbor with wings. "Look at that nosy buzzard," he chuckled to Lydia, who was watering her tulips. She smirked. "Bet it wants your coffee recipe." Sophie, munching cereal on the deck, groaned. "It's back? Ugh." Jack winked, adjusting the goofy owl on his birdhouse jammer. "Not for long, kiddo." The birdhouse hummed to life, its hidden circuits ready to zap Marlene Voss's Sky Snooper. Jack flicked a switch. The drone wobbled like a drunk bumblebee, dipping low before scrambling back to Marlene's mansion. Sophie jumped up, high-fiving Jack. "Nailed it, Dad!" An email from Marlene hit Jack's phone, screaming, "Tech terrorists are attacking our safety systems." Pete Larson, the neighbor, stopped by, laughing. "Tech terrorists? She's losing it, man." Pete leaned in, voice low. "That drone filmed me grilling in my pajamas yesterday. Got a fine for unkempt attire. It's ridiculous." Clara Hayes, from 2 houses down, had her own gripe. "Marlene cited me for a crooked bird feeder." A bird feeder? The neighborhood felt like a fish tank, with Marlene as the shark, her drone circling for any rule-breaking crumb. Jack nodded, steely. She's gotta learn. Jack tweaked the jammer that afternoon, upping the power. The drone swooped in at 3 p.m. right on schedule. He hit the switch. The Sky Snooper spun like a top, nearly clipping a fence. Sophie cheered, "It's dizzy, Dad! Sky Snooper's toast!" Marlene's next email was pure panic. "Digital invaders are sabotaging our community. Report suspicious devices." Jack smirked, sipping his coffee. She's spooked, all right. But Marlene wasn't backing down. The next morning, the drone returned, sporting a new trick, a tiny speaker blaring, "HOA compliance required." Sophie bolted outside, jaw dropped. "She's a flying nag now?" "That's Marlene's voice," Jack laughed, but his jaw tightened. "She's doubling down, huh?" The drone hovered, its camera glinting like it was taunting him. Marlene was turning her Sky Snooper into a megaphone for her. Jack wasn't fazed. In the garage, he pulled out his old tech kit, cobbling together a signal spoofer, a gadget that could hijack the drone's commands and send it wherever he wanted. "Let's drop this pest in her koi pond," he muttered, picturing Marlena's prized backyard fish tank. Lydia peeked in, eyebrow raised. "You're not starting a war, are you?" Jack grinned. "Soldering wires." "Not a war, babe. A lesson." She sighed. "She's not joking, Jack." He nodded, eyes sharp. "Neither am I." The neighborhood was buzzing with unrest. Clara cornered Jack at the mailbox. "That drone flew over my picnic yesterday. I'm scared to eat outside." Kids stopped playing in yards, whispering about Marlene's spy bot. Jack mapped the drone's routes on his laptop. 9 a.m. and 3 p.m., always circling near Marlene's mansion. She's piloting it manually, he realized, spotting her silhouette in her upstairs window, controller in hand. That was his edge. She wasn't using autopass, just her own twitchy fingers. Jack tested the spoofer the next day. The drone buzzed in, cocky as ever. He activated the device, and the sky snooper jerked, veering toward Marlene's yard. It corrected at the last second, zipping home. Sophie clapped. "You almost had it!" But Marlene was furious. By evening, new security cameras sprouted on her porch, their red lights blinking like angry eyes. Sophie whispered, "She's paranoid, Dad, like tinfoil hat paranoid." Marlene's emails got wilder, ranting about cyber bandits and enemy frequencies. Pete showed Jack a new citation for excessive lawnmower noise. "Noise? I mowed at noon," he fumed. Clara got fined for unauthorized wind chimes. The whole cul-de-sac was on edge, tiptoeing around their own homes. Jack kept tweaking the spoofer, but the drone returned the next morning with a brighter, shinier camera. Pete muttered, "It's upgraded. She's not playing." Jack recalibrated, frowning. "She's adapting. Gotta stay one step ahead." Jack studied the drone's patterns like a hawk. It stuck close to Marlene's house, never straying past 3 yards as if she feared losing control. "She's nervous," Jack told Lydia, plotting coordinates. "That's her weakness." Lydia crossed her arms. "Nervous people get desperate, Jack. Watch your back." He nodded, but his mind was on the koi pond, Marlene's pride and joy, the perfect target for a sky snooper takedown. The neighborhood started pushing back. Clara taped "no drone" signs to her fence. Pete's kid drew a cartoon of Marlene as a witch on a broomstick drone. Sophie made a sky snooper free zone poster for the mailbox. Jack smiled, proud. "We're a team now," he said, but Marlene wasn't slowing down. Her emails hinted at new security measures, and Jack spotted a delivery truck at her house. "She's got backup," he muttered, recalibrating the spoofer. At dusk, the drone returned, bolder than ever. A spotlight flicked on, bathing Jack's yard in harsh white light. Sophie gasped, "Dad, it's like a UFO!" Jack activated the spoofer, and the drone tilted, drifting toward Marlene's koi pond. But then, a new lens gleamed, sharper and meaner. Marlene's voice blared through the speaker. "You can't hide, Harper!" Jack whispered, fingers on his laptop. "Watch me." The drone wobbled, its spotlight flickering. The Willow Creek clubhouse buzzed with tension. Neighbors packed in like sardines for the HOA meeting. Marlene Voss strutted to the front, her blazer gleaming like ego armor. Jack Harper, slouched in the second row, whispered to Pete Larson, "She's ready to crown herself drone queen?" Marlene clapped her hands, voice syrupy. "Let's discuss our Sky Guardian's interference." Pete snorted, loud enough for heads to turn. Sky Guardian? More like Sky Snoop. Jack stood, clutching a USB drive, his grin sly. "I've got evidence to share." Marlene's eyes narrowed. "On the agenda, Harper?" she sneered. Jack ignored her, plugging the drive into the projector. The screen lit up with clips. Marlene's drone hovering over Clara Hayes' garden, zooming into Sophie Harper's bedroom window, buzzing Pete's yapping dog. The crowd gasped, chairs creaking as people leaned forward. Clara shot up, finger jabbing. "That's my kitchen!" "You're spying, Marlene," Pete yelled. "That's my dog freaking out," murmurs erupted. Edwin Moore, the board president, adjusted his glasses, voice stern. "Marlene, explain this." Marlene stammered, her plastic smile cracking. "It's for safety. I'm protecting our community." Marlene pointed at Jack, voice shrill. "He's the saboteur. That birdhouse on his patio, it's a signal disruptor." Jack shrugged, leaning back. Owls don't hack, Marlene. Maybe your drone's just clumsy. Laughter exploded, neighbors slapping tables. Sophie, sitting with Lydia, giggled. She's toast. Marlene's face turned beet red. This isn't over, Harper. She stormed toward the door, heels clicking like gunfire. As the crowd dispersed, whispers filled the air. She's unhinged, Clara muttered. Pete nudged Jack. She's gonna come for you, man, Sophie, catching up, said. She's mad we caught her, Dad. Jack nodded, eyes sharp. She's not done. Not by a long shot. Lydia squeezed his arm. What's your next move? Jack smirked. Patience, babe, she'll slip. That night the Sky Super was back, bolder and meaner. A spotlight flicked on, bathing Jack's yard in harsh light. Sophie gasped. Dad, it's upgraded. Jack tested his signal spoofer, fingers dancing on his laptop. The drone veered toward Marlene's koi pond, then corrected itself, buzzing home. Encrypted signals, Jack muttered, frowning. She's getting tricky. Marlene's morning email was a meltdown. Tech traders are attacking our safety. Report suspicious activity. Jack spotted new gear on her roof, a signal booster, its antenna gleaming. Pete whispered at the mailbox. She's got a new drone, Jack. Saw a delivery truck. Jack recalibrated his spoofer, jaw tight. She's doubling down, gotta keep up. The neighborhood was fighting back. Clara passed out a petition to ban drones, her pen flying as neighbors signed. Kids taped no drone zone signs to fences, one with a cartoon Marlene riding a broomstick drone. Sophie proudly hung a Sky Snooper free poster on their mailbox. Jack mapped the new drone's path, lower, bolder, dipping to 15 feet. She's desperate, he told Lydia, plotting coordinates. Desperate's dangerous, Lydia warned. Jack tweaked the spoofer, aiming for Marlene's koi pond, her pride and joy, a shimmering fish paradise. At 3 p.m., the drone buzzed in, speaker blaring, "Comply with HOA rules!" Jack nudged the spoofer's settings. The drone wobbled, drifting toward Marlene's yard. Lydia whispered, "She's watching closer, Jack. Those new cameras." Jack nodded, eyes locked on his screen. Good, let her see this. The drone spiraled inches from the koi pond's edge. Marlene's voice screamed through the speaker. "Back off, Harper!" Jack whispered, fingers hovering. "One push," Sophie gasped, pointing. "Dad, she's got cameras on us. That light's blinding." The drone's spotlight flared, pinning them in its glare, its new lens glinting like a predator's eye. Jack Harper's fingers hovered over the spoofer, eyes locked on the drone's glaring spotlight. He flicked the switch. The Sky Snooper spiraled, then, glug, plunged into Marlene Voss's koi pond, sending fish scattering. Marlene shrieked from her backyard, slipping off a lawn chair, her phone sinking with a splash. Jack, watching from his porch, grinned wide. Poetic splash. Sophie high-fived him, hollering, "Sky Snooper's fish food!" Lydia laughed, wiping tears. "She's soaked." Jack closed his laptop, dusting his hands. Done. Neighbors cheered from their porches, some clapping like they'd just seen fireworks. Pete Larson raised a beer, shouting, "To freedom!" Clara Hayes whooped, "No more buzzards!" Sophie danced, chanting, "Fish food, fish food!" The cul-de-sac felt lighter, like a storm had passed. Jack leaned back, savoring the moment, but his gut whispered Marlene wasn't the type to quit. By morning, Marlene's rage was everywhere. Flyers plastered mailboxes. "Sabotage is a crime," in screaming red font with blurry drone footage of Jack's birdhouse. She called the police, ranting about enemy frequencies and tech terrorism. The officer, barely hiding a smirk, inspected the drowned drone. "Memory cards fried, ma'am. No evidence." Marlene stomped off, muttering about conspiracies. Sophie giggled, showing Jack a flyer. "She's unhinged, Dad." The neighborhood exhaled. Kids spilled into yards, kicking soccer balls without fear of cameras. Clara painted her fence a bold teal, grinning. No fines now. Pete hosted a barbecue, the grill's smoke curling freely. "No buzzards to snitch," he laughed, flipping burgers. Jack joined, beer in hand, but his eyes flicked to Marlene's mansion, blinds shut tight. "She's too quiet," he told Lydia. Marlene wasn't done. A delivery truck rumbled to her house, unloading a sleek box. By afternoon, a new signal booster gleamed on her roof. Sophie whispered, peering through binoculars. "Dad, she's got a bigger drone." Jack tested his spoofer on his laptop, frowning. Encrypted signals. "She's gone full spy movie." Lydia crossed her arms. "What's your plan?" Jack had been busy. In the garage, he hacked the old drone's logs, pulling data from its fried circuits. The files showed illegal flights over Clara's backyard, Pete's patio, even Sophie's window, all time-stamped. "Got her," Jack said, saving the logs to a USB. Lydia warned, "She's cornered, Jack. Cornered means dangerous." He nodded, eyes steely. "I'm ready." The neighborhood was buzzing with rebellion. Clara rallied neighbors for an anti-drone vote, her petition gaining signatures like wildfire. Tina Wells, the board treasurer, mocked Marlene's flyers at the mailbox. "Her toy drowned. Time to retire, Voss." Sophie plastered "No Spy Zone" posters on lampposts, one with a cartoon drone sinking in a pond. Jack smiled, ruffling her hair. "Teamwork, kid." But Marlene's new drone was no joke. At dusk, it roared over the cul-de-sac, its spotlight brighter, its hume deeper. Jack tested the spoofer, but the drone barely twitched. "She's upgraded," he muttered, recalibrating fast. Sophie watched, nervous. "It's meaner, Dad, like a robot shark." Jack nodded, tweaking settings. "Sharks can still sink." Marlene called an emergency HOA meeting, and the clubhouse was packed. She stood at the front, waving blurry footage of Jack's birdhouse. "Harper's the criminal," she screamed, voice cracking. "He crashed my drone." Edwin Moore, the board president, adjusted his glasses. "Proof, Marlene?" The crowd murmured, skeptical. Clara whispered to Pete, "She's spiraling." Jack stood, calm as ever, pulling a USB from his pocket. "I've got logs." Marlene paled, stammering, "Lies." Before he could plug it in, the new drone buzzed outside, its speaker blaring, "You'll pay, Harper." The crowd gasped, heads turning. Jack whispered, fingers on his spoofer, "Not today." The drone wobbled, its spotlight flickering. The Willow Creek clubhouse roared as Jack Harper plugged in his USB, the projector glowing with damning evidence. Drone logs flashed on screen. Marlene Voss's Sky Snooper illegally buzzing over Clara's garden. Pete's patio, Sophie's window. The crowd erupted, "Enough!" Edwin Moore, board president, stood, voice firm. "Marlene, you're suspended." Outside, Marlene's new drone wobbled, then crashed into a hedge. Jack's spoofer at work. Neighbors cheered, fists pumping. Sophie grinned. "She's toast." Marlene's face twisted, and she stormed out, heels clicking like a retreating army. The board passed the Marlene ban, outlawing drones for good. Neighbors spilled outside, shouting, "Freedom!" Sophie high-fived Clara, chanting, "No more spies!" Jack leaned against Lydia, smirking. "Told you she'd slip." Willow Creek threw a freedom fest the next weekend, the park alive with laughter. Kids chased Jack's new drone, a candy-dropping marvel that showered Skittles and gummy bears. Pete Larson laughed, flipping burgers. From spy to snack, "Nice work, Harper." Clara painted a mural on her garage, fearless, colors bold. The air felt light, like the neighborhood could breathe again. At the fest, Edwin climbed onto a picnic table, holding a shiny trophy shaped like a busted drone. "For aerial pest control, Jack! Harper!" the crowd chanted. "Jack! Jack!" Lydia nudged him, grinning. "Hero, huh?" Jack saluted, blushing. "Just a dad, keeping the skies clear." Sophie hugged him, whispering, "You're the best." Marlene's mansion stayed dark, blinds shut, mailbox stuffed with junk. Her husband Ron walked their dog, head down, silent. Sophie, watching from the porch, asked, "She learned, right, Dad?" Jack shrugged, voice soft. "Hope so, kid. Power's a tough habit to break." Lydia squeezed his hand, and they let the quiet settle. The neighborhood bloomed with joy. Kids played basketball in driveways, no cameras to dodge. Pete hosted barbecues, smoke curling without a citation. Tina Wells changed her Wi-Fi to no spy zone, making everyone chuckle. Jack's drone zipped around, dropping chips to Sophie, who squealed, "Snack attack!" The cul-de-sac felt like home again. Jack and Lydia sat on their porch one evening watching the sunset paint the sky pink. "All this from a barbecue," Lydia said, sipping lemonade. Jack nodded, grinning, and a nosy drone. They laughed, the sound warm and easy. Sophie called from inside, "Dad, your drone's a legend!" Jack winked at Lydia. "Better than Marlene's, that's for sure." A new resident stopped by the next week, curious. "Heard about this Marlene ban. What's the deal?" Pete, mowing his lawn, smirked. "Ask Jack's birdhouse. It's got stories." Jack chuckled, but later he saw Marlene in her driveway, staring skyward, alone. "Her throne's gone," he muttered, a twinge of pity in his chest. She turned, disappearing inside, the door clicking shut. Jack's voice filled the air, steady and clear. "Privacy's a right, not a privilege. Tech can connect us, not control us. Stand up for your community, and don't let anyone turn your home into a fishbowl." The screen showed kids laughing, Clara painting, Pete grilling, Willow Creek free at last. The message sank in. Your space, your rules. Jack fired up his drone one last time, sending it soaring over the cul-de-sac. It dropped a candy bar to Sophie, who cheered, "Best dad ever!" Neighbors waved, their yards alive with chatter and games. The sky was clear, no buzzards in sight. The screen faded with bold text, "Like, subscribe, share, protect your sky." Willow Creek thrived, a testament to fighting back with smarts, heart, and a well-aimed spoofer. This story's more than a suburban showdown. It's a lesson in standing tall. Marlene's obsession with control crashed because Jack and his neighbors valued privacy and unity. It teaches us to guard our space, use tech for good, and rally together against overreach. If you loved Jack's victory, drop a comment, hit that like button, and subscribe for more epic tales. Share this with friends to keep the sky clear, and don't miss tomorrow's adventure.